Hi there and welcome to Croptoberfest 2021 with a Creatively Crafted Life. My name is Melanie. If you are just joining me, this is one of the classes that I am offering today as part of the Creative Memories Croptoberfest event. And I have a number of videos leading up to this. Please be sure to check them out. There is a lot of prep that is done in advance, so the expectation is that you have already prepared for this to make this go a little bit smoother. So we are going to be making 5 layouts, and what we're going to do first of all is we're just going to make the base pages. And by that I mean is we're not going to worry so much about photos and embellishments. We're just going to get the layers, the paper layers down. So to start off, we're going to kick off with layout number 1. If you followed the prep video, you should have a packet full of paper ready to go, and included in that you should have 2 12 by 12 pieces of cardstock. You should have 2 3 by 12 of the feature paper. You should have 2 pieces of the brown cardstock, and you should have 2 1/2-inch pieces of what I am calling the layering paper or stripe paper. Okay, so whatever we do on one sheet, we're going to do on the second to kind of make a large 12 by 24 canvas. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the sunflower paper in my case, and we're just going to add some adhesive of choice, and along the top edge of the white cardstock we are just going to adhere that down, and we're going to repeat on the second sheet. Okay, so now we are going to take the striped paper, and it's really your choice if you want to use one side or the other. So this would be the stripe and this would be the plaid. Either will work. It's completely up to you. I am going to go with the stripe because I love me a stripe. And I am actually going to use a little bit of glue to layer this down instead of the tape runner, because I just find glue is a little bit easier to use with smaller pieces. And we are just going to butt this right up against the sunflower paper. And we're going to repeat on the other side. Okay, then we're going to take the dark brown cardstock and we are going to do that along the bottom edge. Just like so, and on the other page as well. And that is as hard as it gets. So we now have a 2-page 12 by 24 base page ready to go. So we will put this aside, come back to this later when we're ready to deal with embellishments and photos. Just to show you an alternate variation of this using a different cardstock. It's exactly the same layout, just with different pattern paper. Okay, so for layout number 2, you should have a piece of yellow cardstock, a pre-cut border, a 10 by 10 piece of white cardstock, and a frame. And if you are like me, because this paper is quite thin, or choosing to use a base, you would need a 12 by 12 cardstock base. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to adhere this down to the base if you are going that route. You're wondering why I am rolling my adhesive out in such a strange manner. I've mentioned this a few times on my channel, but my ATG gun and I, well, we're just not getting along right now. And it's been a while, and right now I'm happier with just rolling it than using it. So we're just going to stick to it for a bit. Okay, so we're just going to lay that down, and then we're going to just adhere this cardstock on top of that, just to give it some stability. And if I did a poor job of aligning it, we'll just trim it to make it look a little better. Okay, then we're going to take the 10 by 10 piece of white and we're just going to add some adhesive to that. If you are a little bit concerned about aligning things and making them straight, you can definitely use a ruler. We are going for a 1-inch border all the way around. Like so. From the top, we are going to go 2.5 inches and we are going to apply the yellow piece of cardstock. So 2.5 inches from the top and 1.5 inches on either side. Just like so. We're then going to take the border and add some adhesive to this. Again, I am using liquid glue because I find it easier, but if you prefer using a dry adhesive, of course that's your choice. And we are going to go 1/2 inch lower on the yellow or 3 inches from the top, and this is going to go all the way across the page. Just like so. That's layout number 2. Here is what layout number 2 looks like with alternate paper choices. For layout number 3, you should have 2 12 by 12 papers, either in white or cream. You should have 2 pumpkin sheets, 2 1/4 inch, and 2 3 by 12s. So again, this is going to be another 2-page layout. Whatever we do on the one, we're going to do on the other. So let's start with laying down the brown cardstock. And that we are just going to affix to the bottom. And repeat on the second page. Okay, now we're going to take the pumpkin paper and we are going to line that up right next to the brown cardstock. Just like so. Repeat on the second page. Make sure you watch your orientation if that matters for the cardstock that you're using. You don't want upside down pumpkins if we can avoid it. Okay, now the final step will be to add the 1/4 inch pieces along the seam. And again, you can choose which option you like better. So I like the stripe, but you guys know by now the stripes are my go-to. So again, I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid adhesive. Just run that along the edge. And if you didn't get your 2 pieces of paper aligned perfectly, this is a great opportunity to mask any gaps that you may have. Just like so. And if for some reason your cardstock has a little bit is showing a little bit on the right hand side or left hand side, you can always just shave that off now, so you don't have to worry about that. And repeat on the other side. Here's what layout 3 looks like with alternate paper choices. And that is layout number 3. Let's move on to 4. For layout number 4, you should have a 12 by 12 piece of white or cream cardstock. You should have a purple piece of cardstock, a rust triangle, a sunflower triangle, and a 1/4 inch stripe. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take the rust triangle, we're going to add some adhesive to this. And this is going to go in the upper left hand corner, just like so. We're now going to take the sunflower and we are going to apply that in the opposite corner. And again, if your paper and stuff is not cut perfect, which happens all the time with me, just take your trimmer and trim off just a sliver, and the problem will disappear. And you won't even notice. Okay, we're then going to take the bottom piece. Now in this case, I'm actually going to switch it up and I'm going to use the reverse side, and we are just going to adhere that down at the bottom of the page. This is only 1/4 inch thick, so make sure you don't go too high with the adhesive. Just like so. Okay, and then the last step is to add the purple piece of cardstock. And this is going to go at an angle, and we want it to cover this point. So we don't want to show any white. We don't want that in there. I find that a little distracting, which is why I want to cover it. So we're just going to go slightly at an angle where that point meets. Just like so. I'm okay with covering more of this up as opposed to this because this is the feature paper and I really want this to show. This paper has the purple and the rest that ties everything together. This is what the layout looks like with an alternate cardstock choices. Okay, and the last layout in this class is layout number 5. You should have 2 pieces of 12 by 12 white or cream, 2 pieces of the featured paper, the sunflowers, 2 pieces of the green as a rectangle, and 2 pieces of the bronze, and then 2 circles. One's 5 and one's 3.5 inches. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to layer the papers, and it's as simple as the pattern on top of the green, on top of the brown shimmer or bronze shimmer. Okay, you're going to do that for both pieces. If it doesn't quite align, like this side doesn't, of course you get the story by now, just take a paper trimmer and trim that to size. And we'll repeat with the larger size. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one sheet of the 12 by 12 and we are going to take the large panel that we just created, and we are going to adhere this about 1.5 inches from the left hand side. Again, I like to use a ruler. If you like to eyeball it, there's no rules. Wherever you want it to go is just fine. For the second sheet, we are going to take the second panel and we are going to adhere that at 3.5 inches. Just like so, and trim off any bits that are showing that you don't want. Okay, so let's just talk about this for a minute. This particular pattern is not really directional, meaning you could have it up and down or you could have it horizontal. Either will work. If your pattern is directional, it is going to change how you're going to orient this. So if your pattern needs to go horizontally, this is what the layout would look like. But if you are going to do vertically, it would look like this. So quite a bit different. We want to take our cardstock circles and we are going to add these on. Now here's you have some options here. One is you can do some sort of treatment to the circles. You can either you can emboss them as an example, or you could stamp on them. It's completely up to you how you want to do this. I am just going to keep it very simple for this class and just leave them as plain cardstock. I am going to orient mine vertically, and this circle is going to go down here in the bottom, and this one is going to go up here near the top. If you were to rotate it, your circles can still go in the same direction, but I would probably switch these around. I would probably take this and add it down here at the bottom and add this one up at the top. I think it just balances it a little better. You're going to have photos going across here and photos going across here. It's completely up to you how you want to do it, but I would switch it around if I was going this direction. Okay, so like I said, I am going to glue these down, and then this page will be done. And I'll show you what it looks like with alternate patterns. And that's what it looks like with alternates. In this case, I actually used pattern paper or pattern cardstock, so I didn't need a treatment to it. But this is a place where you can put your title or your journaling. You could have an embellishment cluster here. Again, there's lots of options with these base pages. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it, and of course, you can do whatever it is you would like to make them your own. So that is the base pages. The next video that comes up, we'll talk about photo placement and embellishments.